Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. Hello and welcome to Ask Margaret from What Fresh Hell, laughing in the face of motherhood, answering your parenting dilemmas one question at a time. Today's question says, good morning. I found your podcast in 2020 and I love listening to you both. I am a 39-year-old mom of 2 girls, 6 and 4. My mother was recently given a terminal diagnosis, specifically ALS. Margaret, you have spoken about the loss of your mother on the podcast. I was wondering if you have any tips or advice on how to handle the loss of your mother while also parenting young children, including how to keep her memory alive since they are so young. Thank you both so much for your podcast. P.S. I loved your first book, Amy. Hugs from Louisiana. I do have some advice on this. So I lost my mom 5 years ago. My kids at the time were like 5 through 9. And so I think one thing to keep in mind is age appropriate communication for this age range. So a 6 and a 4-year-old, especially that 4-year-old, is going to have a different experience of this than an 8-year-old or a teen. And I think the most important thing you can do is to speak pretty frankly with your kids about what's going on. And I know that this part is really difficult, having done it myself. I think what's hard is that we're processing this for ourselves, and then we need to process it for our kids as well. And kids, as we know, don't tend to have the best filters. And so they will ask things like, is grandma going to die? Is it going to be painful? Is she going to have to go to the hospital? These are questions that we may not be totally ready for ourselves. So I think it can be a good idea before you bring your kids into the conversation to have a pretty stern check-in with yourself about how you have faced these questions yourself, so that you're not dealing with questions like, is it going to be soon, or is it going to take a long time for grandma to die? So that you're not dealing with these questions for the first time when they come out of your kids' mouths, because I think that can lead to surprise and some emotionality that might not be the best for this situation. Listen, give yourself a lot of grace. You're in a very difficult time and it's not going to go perfectly. But I do think that one thing that can help is being really as prepared as possible for the questions that are going to come. I'm going to quote from an article in Psychology Today called The Do's and Don'ts of Talking with a Child About Death. This can also apply to a long illness. Do tell the truth about what has happened. Do be prepared for a variety of emotional responses. I want to drill down on this one. Kids sometimes joke about things they don't understand. Kids sometimes play out things they don't understand. So you might see 2 kids pretending to wheel each other around in a wheelchair if your mom ends up in a wheelchair at some point during this process. You might see them acting out some things that they have seen. You might see them acting out funerals and things like that. And so I think it is important to realize that that's part of this process, and it may not always be comfortable for you. Another thing is to speak as frankly as possible. Use words dead and died so that whatever our tradition is, whatever we believe happens in the afterlife, things like, oh, they went to sleep, they crossed over, those kind of words can sometimes be confusing for our kids. So I think speaking as frankly as possible, and then being emotional. It's okay to cry together. Be comfortable saying, I don't know. I don't know why this happened. I don't know why grandma got this terrible disease. It's okay to offer that rather than feeling like you have to make up an answer for every question that your child has. Because the fact is, we don't actually have these answers. And so it's okay to tell that to your kid. I think one of the things you tap into is how to keep memories alive. And I think that's really important. Sometimes we feel worried that our kids or ourselves don't want to keep bringing this up. It seems depressing. It seems like, oh, let's just go on with the day that we're having. I think it is really important to talk a lot about loved ones who are sick or dying, to share pictures, to read books about grandmas, to dial into and this is really hard for us right now because grandma is really sick and she's going to die. And these things are really difficult, but I think that trying to put it away on a shelf, kids see right through that stuff. So the more you can talk about grandma, talk about what's going on, the easier it is for all of you to process it and realize that it is part of our lives, that we might be laughing at dinner and then afterwards crying because we were telling stories about grandma and it made us sad. And letting everybody have their own bereavement story within the family, I think, is the key to making this work. And then lots of pictures, lots of videos. Have your mom write down stories or record videos for the kids, and just be really intentional about how you make this time where your mom is going to be sick and you're juggling a lot of things as meaningful as possible for everybody in the house. One thing you could think about, and they do sponsor our podcast, but Amy and I have both done it with our parents, is Storyworth or some sort of memory keeper service where you put something a little bit more formal together. You have to make sure that it's something that feels comfortable to everybody involved, both for your mom and for yourself and for the kids, but making memory books together and really being intentional about, hey, this is going to end in somebody dying. And before that happens, we want to make this as meaningful as possible in a way that makes everybody feel comfortable. It's a super hard time and a hard process, and I'm really sending you my best as you go through it, and I hope that helps. If you have a question for myself or Amy, you can ask them on our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/whatfreshhellcast, or come to our website, whatfreshhellpodcast.com. There's a little mic. You can ask your questions live. Thanks so much for listening.